Okay. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome to our first episode of the virtual roundtable on COVID-19. We will be discussing the myth, the impact, and the way forward in Africa. My name is Ebere Akadiri, and I am the founder of Ataro Foods in the Netherlands. And I'm also a Nigerian, but I live in the Netherlands. And I'm also the founder of Rise and Lead Women, and we are located in Europe and Africa. And with me today is Adebola Kupoloyi. Adebola is also the country chair of Rise and Lead Women in Africa. We have with us Ndidi Muneli, who is the senior partner of Sahel Consulting and a co-founder of Ace Foods. We also have Josephine Favre, who is the president of the Association of Vertical Farmers in Africa. We have with us also Temi, I have to pronounce it well, Temi Tope Omotoloni. Temi is the co-founder and managing director of Crowdy Invest in Nigeria.
Hi, everyone.
So thank you for coming, Temi. Ndidi is joining us. Can you give me a second? Let me make sure Ndidi is right here with us. So sorry, Ndidi is, I need to find Ndidi. Okay, she's here. Yes, we are complete now.
Okay, she's in?
Yeah, she is. She's in. She's going to join. Okay, hold on, please. Just give me a second. Let me make sure this is Ndidi. It's showing as somebody else. Okay, thank you for coming. So I don't know, we have so many people joining us today, and we have a chat box. Can you use the chat box and tell us where you're coming from, your name and where you're coming from? Okay, we're trying to make sure Ndidi joins us because I think she's using another link to come in. So let me start. The purpose of this meeting is for us to gain a deeper insight and a good understanding about COVID-19 situation in Africa. And also for us to share tips that can help each of us as an individual, and also for us to be able to help people around us in our communities. So like I said earlier, we have invited experts in the food and agriculture industry to share with us the way forward, to share with us if we should be afraid when it comes to hunger and starvation, what is happening regarding food security in Africa. And one of the reasons we are doing this is because recently we saw that we've seen a lot of reports from World Health Organization. We've seen reports from United Nations, and they are all complaining about the food crisis, the looming food crisis in Africa. So this is why we are choosing this topic as the first topic in the series of webinars that we are planning to host. We also know that there is a lot of myths. People are sharing a lot of information regarding COVID-19 in Africa, which is causing problems for some people and which is causing problems for some people, and that can also affect our mental health. So tomorrow we'll be having another webinar to discuss about information and security, our digital security, and how we can protect our mental health. And also tomorrow we're going to be talking about careers. A lot of people are afraid of their jobs. Companies at one point, if this thing continues, they may not be able to help. They may not be able to support, to continue paying their employees. And we also, small businesses are going to have issues. So we have decided to also bring some experts, especially bankers, to tell us how they want to support small businesses to survive and thrive. And also business development experts to tell us how we can kind of maybe pivot during this period, and so that everybody survives during the pandemic and afterwards. So I have with me, I'm going to tell you about each of our speakers so that before I bring them up and ask them questions. I'm still trying to get Ndidi in. I know she is here, and so give me a second, please, because today is the first day. Just want to make sure everybody is here. Ndidi should be here. Hello, Ndidi, can you hear me? Hello, Ndidi. Can you send her a text message, please?
Okay. Well, she's actually here. She's raising her hands.
She's raising her hands.
Yes, she just sent a chat. So I'm here. I can hear you.
Okay.
She's raising her hand. So
as an attendee?
To move her in.
Oh, I've seen
Yes, she's the first name as an attendee. Please just move her in. Yes.
Oh, thank God.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Perfect.
You know, I moved the wrong person. And I've been expecting the person to say something. Thank you so much, Ndidi, for joining us.
Can you see me?
Yes, we can. I can't see you yet.
Okay, so can you unmute, show my video? You have to do that as well. If you want to.
You promoted Busayo, so you may have to. It was Busayo you promoted to panelists.
Okay, but Ndidi is here with us now.
At least I can talk. If you can't see me, no problem.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, it's Busayo that I see. Ndidi, can you talk again, please?
Hi, this is Ndidi. Good to be on the panel. And
yes, you're here now.
Okay, please move Busayo back.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're good.
38 chat.
So sorry for everyone. You know, this is technology and we are good to go now. Ndidi is here with us and she can talk. Ndidi, we can talk. We are seeing you.
Fantastic. Great to be connected. And thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. So let me introduce Ndidi to you. And before I introduce her and start asking my questions, I wanted to ask everybody who is here, whether you're watching us from Facebook Live or you are right here with us inside Zoom, I want you to know that this is an interactive section. It's not about the questions we have prepared. It's about the questions that you want to ask. It's about your worries, your concerns. Obviously, everybody is concerned about this pandemic. I think it was last month in March, Rise and Lead Women Africa was supposed to be launching for the first time in Lagos. and I was so excited. We had done so much work. Adebola, with all the team, we did so much work. I had bought my ticket to fly on the 20th, to come into Lagos on the 20th of March, to get ready for the summit. So many people had already registered. You know, we had over 150 people who had registered. It's when the news came that I couldn't travel, it broke my heart. You know, I felt so bad for like 3 days. It took me some days to recover from the shock that after spending so much time, effort, money, we could not hold the summit. Anyway, I know the summit is still going to hold, because as soon as all this madness is over, I'm the first person that is going to fly into Lagos for this summit, and I hope to see all of you. So what I want to do first is to ask our participants, I want to ask you, how are you feeling today? How are you feeling about this situation? And I think we created a poll where you can actually tell us from the scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel regarding the COVID situation? How are you feeling today, personally? So you can go ahead and say, 10 is the best, 1 is not good, and 3, 5 in between. And whatever answer you give us, I want you to go to the chat box and tell us why you're feeling the way you are. I also want to tell you that we have a Q&A section box that when the speakers are speaking and you have any question, just type it in. And if you want to come to the screen and ask your questions, during the Q&A section, you can just raise your hand. There is a button where you can raise your hands, and then we'll bring you up to ask your questions. So this is so interactive, it's not just broadcasting, it's interactive. We want to do this with you. We want to have this conversation with you and know the way forward. So let me look at the results. So 5% 1, another 5% 2, and some people are on 7. Well done, congratulations. Some people are feeling great, 99%, thank you. A few people, one person is feeling, like at his or her best, congratulations. So I'm going to close this now. So once again, thank you for joining us and welcome. I'm going to bring Ndidi Wineli to speak, to tell us more about her and what her company is doing. I know that Ndidi Wineli has been very passionate about agriculture. She's been very passionate about nutrition in West Africa. She's been very passionate about making sure that nobody goes hungry. And she has effected changes that shape, our agricultural policies in West Africa through Sahel Consulting. So Ndidi, I want you to tell us, how has this COVID-19 affected you and your industry? And also, what is Sahel Consulting doing to help to promote the agricultural landscape in West Africa and in Africa as a whole?
Thank you so much, Ebere, and thank you to everybody for having me. Apologies for the logistical challenges joining. It's such a pleasure to connect with all of you. Ebere has told me a lot about this amazing community of dynamic women, and I applaud all of you for your great work. So I'm the managing partner and co-founder of Sahel Consulting and the co-founder of Ace Foods, and then we've launched the third initiative called nourishingafrica.com. And through this work, we're trying to ensure that we transform the agriculture and food landscape in Africa. I'll answer the first question, which is how is this affecting our sector? I'll tell you that it's actually having a big impact because many of our governments have done exactly what the West is doing. They're locking down their economies and they're restricting movement. and they're not recognizing food as an essential part of the COVID-19 response. And so this is making it difficult for seeds and fertilizer to get to the farms. And right now we're entering farming season. It's making it very difficult for produce to get from the farms to the factories and processing sites. And it's also definitely affecting food prices. Before this call, I put a poll out to my team members in Jigawa, Adamawa, Plateau State, Abuja, Lagos, and food prices have doubled or even tripled by 20 to 50%, depending on the value chain, from yam to rice to corn, beans, you name it. Not just imported food, but even basic gari has doubled in price. So we're facing a food crisis in the making, especially because we have unscrupulous people in our networks who are taking advantage of the closed markets to hike prices up and to restrict trade, which is also fostering increased malnutrition and hunger. And on the streets of Lagos, I'm sure some of you who are connected to what's going on here have heard about boys begging on the streets, cars being broken into. Our Ace Foods van was broken into. Food vehicles are being broken into. Staff are being beaten up because people are hungry. Now, this is not unique to Africa. This has happened in Asia right now. It's happening even in Europe. And so we have to address the food crisis, and we have to make very, very concerted efforts. So what am I doing and what are my teams doing? The first is that we recognize that we have a very important role to play. I've started an informal campaign saying, just like our doctors are heroes, our farmers, our food processors, our SMEs in the entire value chain are heroes. Half of them have had to close down, and we cannot afford to close down. So our teams who work in offices are working from home, but we're continuing to support our farmers on the field. We have people on the field who are making sure are protected with gloves and masks, and we're continuing to work. We're also amplifying our voice. I'm helping shape policy, and even today send some information from the East Africa Grain Council to the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria to say, let's learn from what others are doing. You don't have to lock down your food systems. We're going to create civil unrest and social unrest if you continue to do this. Protect our distributors. So we're starting to shape policy. And third, we're actually helping to educate entrepreneurs. Through nourishingafrica.com, we've started a COVID support network. If you guys go on nourishingafrica.com, you'll see people responding about how they're dealing with COVID. We're having webinars to support them. We're actually having a call right after this with a funder so we can produce a grants program and to help businesses recover, because we know that a lot of businesses are going to need grants and subsidized loans to be able to recover. So we're actively trying to do that. And earlier today, we had a call with a whole range of financial institutions, global financial institutions, saying this is what you need to do to help African food businesses and agriculture businesses to survive COVID and thrive. All in all, I think this is actually a mixed blessing. We're going to suffer short-term pain, but we're coming to realization that we have to become food self-sufficient and build sustainable ecosystems. Our ecosystems are too fragile. 2 weeks and 1 month of lockdown and there's complete chaos. It just shows us that we need to strengthen our food ecosystems. We need to collaborate. We need policies that are enabling. We need strong companies. And so I'm saying that, guys, Africa can feed itself. Let's do what we need to do right now to make sure that when future shocks come, and they will come, we're ready, our businesses are ready, our people can survive and thrive. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ndidi. I have a lot of questions for you based on what you said. I have heard people shouting that, how can you tell us to stay at home for another 2 weeks? I've been at home for almost a month as well. So this is a global crisis. This is the only time our leaders also need support. Nobody has the answers to all these problems. So that's why we brought you here today to kind of share your opinion so we can also move it forward to our leaders to see how they can implement some of the things that we are going to discuss today. So thank you so much for sharing those nuggets of wisdom. I have written them down and I will definitely share them. So I'm going to go to Temi Tope Omolani. She is the co-founder of and managing director of Crowdy Invest. The thing I've read about Temi is that she is an ardent believer that agricultural startups and entrepreneurship is the most sustainable way of poverty alleviation in Nigeria and Africa. So Temi, welcome. I would like you to also tell us how COVID-19 has affected you, has affected your industry, and what is Crowdy Invest doing in the agricultural landscape in Africa?
All right, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so happy to be here. Madam Indy, it's good to hear your voice and see your face again. How have you been? Okay, so let me start by saying I think as accurately about issues we are dealing with currently. So I don't have to go back into that bit. She has spelled it out accurately. The major hero is shutting down a couple of businesses and these borders, and we forget that people will still have to eat every day. And it has really gotten out of hand. People breaking into people's homes just to get food. So it's really bad already, because the alternative of shutting down without providing other alternative to like a countermeasure is not helping at this moment. So what CrowdInvest has done, CrowdInvest. So I'm also one of the co-founders of Farm Crowdy, and Farm Crowdy and CrowdInvest work closely together. So what Farm Crowdy does really is to work with farmers to plant their food and then get them a good market to sell whatever it is they've produced, and also train farmers on the best technology to use, proper farming protocols and all of that. That's what Farm Crowdy does. Farm Crowdy used to crowdfund from the public and get monies from everyday Nigerians in little bits, put it together to raise all the inputs that the farmers need to work on their farms. So we last year decided to separate the crowdfunding bit of Farm Crowdy, hence why we created CrowdInvest, so that CrowdInvest can focus on raising the funds, and then Farm Crowdy can focus on ensuring that the farmers do the work and all of that. So Farm Crowdy is focused as an agri-tech platform right now, and then CrowdInvest is focused as the fintech part of the whole business. So if I'm going to marry these two together, really what CrowdInvest is doing now is to continue to raise money for Farm Crowdy to do what she has been doing. Although we are not heavily involved in production right now because we had to stop that. Farmers can't go to their farms anymore because it's not safe. But what we now had to do was to look for other angles of the business that we have not really explored, which is majorly trading right now. We have a meat processing facility that we started, and we've had to double up our activities in that bit because people are still ordering for meat. So what we had to start doing is start supplying those meat to their houses. Before, that was not the plan. The plan was to do the cattle fattening and supply those that would then process the meat. But now we've had to get involved in the meat processing bit ourselves and start delivering to people's houses. That was not our initial business. So we are looking for alternatives to keep the business going, and also provide the needed support that we need at this season, because you can't just stop when it comes to food. You have to find ways to get food across to people. And also, we recently launched a product called Eco Food Mart. What Eco Food Mart is doing now is to bring in the food stuff from different parts of the country and supply to different places in Lagos. So from Eco Food Mart, we had to develop a mobile app. So on that mobile app, you can order for your food stuff, fresh food stuff, and will deliver to your house. We had to get permits from the government to be able to move around and still go to farmers. There are farmers right now that have already produced this food. Another major issue in this country when it comes to agriculture is infrastructure, because farmers produce, but they are not able to properly store their food. So the height of food wastage is on the rise, like it is crazy. So imagine right now, there are farmers that have produced now, they are stuck with their produce at home. They can't move it around. So we are going to those farmers to meet them in their houses to say, we can help you move this product. So we are gathering them in a place. Then we move them down to Lagos and just put them in different distribution centers for people that need them, and then also delivering to people's houses. So that is what we've had to do, looking at the business differently and trying to focus on what is the particular area of need right now. And what we discovered is people need foodstuff to get to their houses. And also, another thing we had to do, because you have to be realistic, that it's not everybody that was prepared for this. Not everybody. You know, it's so interesting when somebody says, oh, so people that have been working since how many years, so go to your savings, you know, and start using your savings to get money for you to feed. But the truth is, it's not everybody that can keep with savings. That's the truth. Because by the time what people earn sometimes is just unimaginable. Like, you cannot believe the amount of work people put into what they do every day, and then the peanuts they earn at the end of the day. By the time they feed themselves, feed all that codependent, by the time they settle bills, there is absolutely nothing to save. So people are stranded at this bit. In the past 3 weeks, I've had numerous people call me to say, even if it's 1,000 naira, can you send to me? I just need to buy Gary or something. Is that bad? And these are people that have, these are not people that have jobs and just sit down. They have jobs they go to every day, but they cannot even afford to save. So what we had to do was to create a platform called Crowdiverse Donate. So it's to encourage our sponsors, that's everyday people that go and fund projects on our platform before now. And we are encouraging them to donate something, no matter how small. We identified two foundations to work with, one for medical and one for food drive. The medical guys are trying to help get more oxygens in the hospitals. And also they are trying to repair ventilators, because a lot of the ventilators we have are not working. 1, 2, to get new ventilators into the country will take about 6 weeks for that to arrive in Nigeria. So it didn't make sense to start buying from other countries and try to ship them. So what we did was to rally around some hospitals that have ventilators already, but they just need to be repaired. So we are raising monies to repair ventilators. And then there is a food drive where we are working with Beyond the Classroom Foundation to put families in clusters in different parts of the country so they can distribute foodstuff items to the families that need them. So that's what we are working on, and we have been doing since this happened.
Thank you so much, Temi. Thank you for your contributions. I've written some of them down. So please, to our participants, our attendees, if you have any question while they are speaking, just go straight to the Q&A box, chat box, type in your questions there. And remember, during the Q&A section, we can call you up to share your opinion, because in this call, on this call, we have people from Canada, people from South Africa, from the Netherlands, from Kenya, from all over. So we really need to share knowledge, like what are the best practices, so we can all learn together and produce a report that we can send to our policymakers or government, or people who are here can learn from it. So thank you very much. Our next guest is Josephine Favre. Josephine is the president of African Association for Vertical Farmers. And they are working towards a more sustainable future for farming in Africa. I met Josephine in Brussels, and she was supposed to be one of our speakers during the summit. You know, we had planned to do a lot in Nigeria, and she's here with us today. She's worked with various communities in Africa, and she, you know, develops trainings and show people how to use vertical farming as a way to feed themselves. And she believes that vertical farming is what we need today to survive. So Josephine is also trapped in Kenya. She lives in Switzerland because there's no movement. She can't fly back. Thank you so much for joining us, Josephine. Just like I asked all the other panelists, can you also tell me how the COVID-19 has affected the vertical farmers, and also what is your organization doing to support people during this period and even beyond the COVID-19?
Thank you very much, Adara, for having me, and valued participant. I do hope you're home well and safe. COVID-19 has been a very big shock for everyone. And I think also in Africa now, we are still really trying even to wake up from this nightmare. A lot of people have had the myth saying that COVID-19 will not reach Africa because we've gone through so many viruses and that Africa is not going to be hit. But I have realized by being in Kenya, seeing that it has really hit our industry. And what hits our industry hits me, of course. And I'm literally bleeding for these smallholder farmers out there in the small communities that we visit every day. Practically my colleagues in South Africa, my colleagues in Nigeria, and in Kenya who have to deal with the smallholder farmers on a daily basis. I am literally bleeding for them. In terms of the African Association for Vertical Farming, our aim is to be together, hold hands with universities, research associates, and individuals in order to bring in the so-called Industrial Revolution 1 and 2 and 3, 4 even, to Africa in terms of agriculture. We do believe agriculture in Africa is still a little bit on the backwards in order to be sustainable, or in order families to be sustainable. For this matter, the African Association for Vertical Farming, we have 4 pillars, and these pillars are to bring in our farmers to be agripreneurs. And the first pillar, of course, agriculture into agripreneurship. And in order to do that, of course, introduce the farmers into the so-called industrial revolution so that they can thrive, so that they are not back like 12,000 years ago, as I always say. At the same time, with the 4 pillars is agripreneurship and technology into farming. And this, of course, we do trainings and we educate all the people that are interested to be going a little bit ahead in the agriculture world to join us, and we give them the courses that actually tackle the whole agri-value chain in order for them to actually thrive in their farm. At the same time, also, we have the humanitarian part of the African Association for Vertical Farming, which is tackling and the women in agriculture. As you know, that 80% of agriculture in Africa is dealt by women. And these women, we need to take them out of the old way of dealing with agriculture into the new way of dealing with agriculture with technology. And one should not really be afraid of the so-called vertical farming technology, thinking that it is very expensive and can only be for the rich people. This is really changing the narratives. We would like people to know that vertical farming is not only for the rich people, but also can be dealt with people that have lower income. And for that matter, we are there to give them the different courses that can actually point them towards a more sustainable way of living. Another part of our so-called humanitarian endeavors are with the youth. The youth of Africa are very technology savvy. They know what technology is all about. And today, when we know that the age of an agriculture person or person dealing in the farm is 65 years old, how can we pull our youth into agriculture? The only way we can pull our youth into agriculture is by introducing technology. That is why we have these courses for our youth to coming into technology, to coming into agriculture. Agriculture should not be seen as a dirty way of tackling so-called our food industry. Agriculture can be fun, and for that matter, we need to tell our youth that coming into agriculture, you don't necessarily have to wet your hands or, let's say, dirty your hands. And agriculture has got a very huge portfolio. You can be dealing with agriculture and you're in marketing and sales, or you can be dealing in agriculture and you're in human resources. You can be dealing with agriculture and being an engineer. So for that matter, I do believe we need to make sure that our youth understand exactly where agriculture is and how how big the portfolio of agriculture is. The African Association for Vertical Farming works enormously with the youth of Africa. We would like to make sure that the youth of Africa go back to their so-called areas in their villages and help the elders into agriculture by bringing in agriculture with technology, which is controlled environmental agriculture. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I like to deal with facts and figures. Ndidi has said a lot, Josephine said a lot, and also Tope about the realities. These are things happening in your countries. But when I was researching about food insecurity, I realized that even before the COVID-19, the United Nations has already noted that Africa is on the verge of food insecurity, which indicates that many people are 1 month's salary away from providing for their households. The World Food Programme has also warned right now that COVID-19 could develop into a food security emergency. So the World Bank predicts, this is just a prediction, that COVID-19 will drive sub-Saharan Africa into a deep recession. Now, let me share with you some of the things I saw, some figures to even know before COVID-19 and now with COVID-19. Of course, we know how COVID-19 started in China. And when it started, so many people didn't take note and start taking measures. Everybody relaxed, and now it's now in Africa. Every country in Africa, everyone is shaking. There is a big crisis. And so because of that, so many countries took these responses for a partial lockdown. Some of them went completely locked down. I understand in Lagos that 3 states have been locked down, but not all the states. And so you have this selective lockdown. And of course, we've been told, like you said, what to do, wash our hands, social distance. And because of the fear of COVID-19, the government had to take drastic measures. And also every day they are watching as the death toll is rising in Africa right now. The World Health Organization said about 520 people have died in sub-Saharan Africa, which means in the whole of Africa is over 1,000. And also a lot of people, about 11,000 plus, has been infected with the COVID-19. And so many people are upset, so many people are angry about the measures their countries have taken because of limited infrastructure, and you have already confirmed that. But one of the things that really got me scared is this, that before the COVID-19 crisis, I saw through this data that 20% of households suffer from extreme food shortage, that 30% of the population is acutely malnourished. 2 to 6.7 million people are starving in Africa. 1 in 4 people suffers from hunger. 40 to 50% of people live below the poverty line with an average daily income of $1.25. I want to ask you, if this is the case, which groups do you think has been affected severely during this COVID-19 crisis? Ndidi, let's start with you.
I think you're right, Ebere. We've been dealing with this issue for a long time. It's not new. Food insecurity in Africa. And who has it been affecting the most? Under 5 and the elderly. These are the 2 most vulnerable groups. There's the first 1,000 days of a child's life. And in African countries, many African countries, 1 out of every 3 children is stunted. And this affects brain development. And what I've been shouting from the rooftops is that if we do not address this food insecurity right now, this 1 out of 3 will become 1 out of 2. And in northern Nigeria, it's actually 50 to 60% that are stunted. So it was a crisis before COVID. Now it's going to worsen. So when I hear that places like Kanu are locking down or Plateau are locking down, it scares me because I just can't imagine how these states that already have been dealing with a severe malnutrition issue are going to be able to cope. And so the vulnerable that we have to be worried about are the elderly and the young people. And we can't borrow what the West has done. I mean, Ebere, you can live in your house and you don't have to see your neighbors unless you come out of your house. But in the average urban city in Nigeria, in Johannesburg, Lagos, in Johannesburg, in Accra, there are 10 people to one room. There's face me, I face you. There's no light and no water. So people wake up and they come and sit outside their house. And you're telling them to do social distancing? How is that possible? And even when the governments are saying we've closed markets, you can only come to the market from 10 to 2. I mean, my staff who have gone to the markets from 10 to 2 have said that instead of having 500 people, there are 4,000 people because there's a short window to shop. So people are rubbing against each other and we're definitely spreading COVID-19. So the challenge for us is, yes, it was already urgent. Now it is a crisis on emerging unless we can do something. And what hurts me is that we don't have social safety nets. You know, the US has sent everybody $1,000 check if you earn less than $80,000. And the people have received their checks. And I'm in Nigeria and I'm wondering, we have BVN, we have post offices, we have ADP, we even have, primary healthcare centers. We haven't recorded people's numbers. We're throwing food out of trailers and the food is being hounded. So I think, my dear, we have a lot of work to do. We have to find where our vulnerable people are. We should get them banked. We should get them on mobile devices so they can get money. And we have to find more systematic ways of meeting the needs of the most vulnerable at this time.
Wow. Thank you for sharing. Thank you so much. And my next question goes to Temi. Temi, you've heard, both of you are in Nigeria, so this is no news to you. But, what happens if this COVID-19 prolongs beyond 2 weeks, 1 month, 3 months? What's going to happen? And how can we mitigate the risk?
Well, that's a huge question that I don't have all the answers to, but I will try. I know that we've only done 2 weeks so far, and it's looking like the world is coming to an end. It's so bad right now. Like, I have some of our staff that live on the mainland. They're already, sometimes by 11 p.m., they're outside of their houses, with machetes and sticks, ready to beat up anybody because they are not safe in their houses anymore. So people are literally going into people's house, even in broad daylight, entering people's houses just to, attack them because of food. And for me, honestly, I think it's even more than the food. There's also that sense of entitlement in Nigeria where people are, we feel entitled, I saw some videos where some people were even going out to help, giving out food. And I saw some videos where people were complaining like, oh, see what they gave me, this is someone that took from what they didn't have. They just took little out of what they have just to help. And then you are still seeing people complain that they gave me rice without meat, they gave me rice without fish, and all of that. So it's beyond the food crisis. There's also a mentality that we are dealing with right now in this country, and unfortunately, we are here right now. So ways to mitigate it is, first, I think that like you said yesterday, we need to talk to people that the stakeholders in this. Who are the people that we always listen to? Who are the people that we value their opinions? We're saying something about the pastors, the guys in the mosque. We need to call those guys to start talking to their people, right? And start looking for ways you can set up structures with all of this. Like a PPP now needs to be developed where there's a public and private partnership going on somewhere, because the government alone cannot solve it. That's the truth. The government alone, and a lot of people are coming up with different initiatives to say, oh, donate these funds, let's help this. But we are doing it in silos. So there's a possibility that I go to Ikeja today to give out bags of rice, and another association comes to that same Ikeja to give out bags of rice. So how are we working together? So there are a lot of disconnected links. People are meant to come together now this time and see how we can properly structure how we go out to mitigate this. The government needs to be talking to those they need to be talking to. There are stakeholders in these things. There are people whose job is to, they know where to go to, they know how to put people in clusters. We need to address it in clusters, as against like Indidi said, where I saw a video where somebody brought a truck of food and you can see thousands of people around that truck and they were just throwing the bag of food. So I'm even in that, imagine in that, I'm in that audience and you've thrown one, I collected it. You try another one, I collect it. It doesn't make sense. So we have places where people's names are registered. People have offices. Can you talk to the business owners and say, okay, what can be put together for your companies? What can companies even put together for their staff, you know, at this time? So it's not just something that I think the government can do by themselves. They need to talk to the stakeholders and see how they can address this touts, for example, that go out on the streets. They have leaders. You know, have you addressed those leaders to say, okay, you know, we know you have over 100 people in your cluster that move around and, you know, they are going around to destroy people's homes. What can we do for you at this time? And then put those things in place and see how it works. Now, the whole idea of opening up the market 10 to 2 p.m., I feel it just defeats the whole purpose. They need to rethink that method. It's not working. It won't work. So I can drive out of my house now and I'm not going to the market. I'm going somewhere else because, again, you are still dealing with a country where we have people that are self-centered as well. So I can still go out of my house and say, I want to start or I want to do my business, regardless of the lives of people I put in danger. I don't care. As long as I'm comfortable, as long as I'm fine, I don't give a hoot about any other person. So there is still that in this country. Hence why hand sanitizer at the beginning will go double or triple the price when we all started. So what happened to still maintaining those things? So like I said, I don't have all the answers to this, but the first thing I think is that let us have conversations and let it be the stakeholders. People are throwing money out, or, you know, I'm donating 100 billion, I'm donating where, how are we structuring those monies to ensure that they get to the people that needs the money, you know, and all of that. There are farmers right now, like I said, that have produce in their houses. They can't have access to farms anymore. There is no transportation to move this food. But we can develop clusters where they can put those foods together in different places and we can pick it up and pay the farmers for that service instead of allowing those food get rotten in their houses. So we can put those clusters together and pick up the food and distribute in communities, in clusters, in churches, in mosques, in different places. Just look for those clusters and look for people that they listen to and see how you can work out a solution that would reach as many people as possible. So that's what I think we need to do. And then lastly, kind of emphasize that shutting down a lot of these things that are being shut down right now is not working. It cannot work. And the truth is, when we are, I think I'm also more worried about what happens when this is all over, because food prices would go up, as in literally go up, and it will be difficult for people to be able to afford to buy food. So it's a major problem. There's post-COVID there. We need to start addressing as much as we can right now. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So now I'm going to move over to Josephine. Josephine, please, Ndidi and Tobe, they are speaking from the Nigerian perspective. Tell us what is happening in Kenya. And also I would like to ask people joining us from South Africa and other African countries that I saw Cote d'Ivoire, please also type and tell us what is happening in your country. Do you have any situation where people are dragging for food, looting and beating up people, food trucks? Have you experienced any of such in Kenya?
Well, yeah, without repeating so much for what my two colleagues have said, of course, the vulnerable are the ones that are really, really being hit in the rest of Africa, meaning that the middleman, of course, you know, when you have the whole food value chain, being cut off or suspended literally. You have the middleman suffering. And when the middleman suffering, you have everything that follows. And if there is no whatever structure that is going to be put in place in the whole of African countries, we are going to go to worse things actually than even the pandemic itself. We are going to go to criminality. People are going to start killing each other because they do not have enough food to eat. And that is going to be a bigger problem than even the pandemic itself. People are going to die of hunger. Hunger kills faster even than the COVID-19. So what is happening here in Kenya? Of course, you know, like every other country, I read quite a lot what is going on. And in Kenya, I know that there is a distribution mechanism that has been put into place on where to distribute, especially the very, very vulnerable areas or slums, as we call them. So each governor of each county, as I have read, will then start contributing. There is always a team, Governor A, B, C, D, and they are actually doing a very, very good job, because at the beginning, what happened here in Nairobi, humanitarians, professional or not professional, the ones with really good heart, they all went with their bags into the slums, and they started, of course, distributing, which led also to some deaths because people were fighting for the food. So the government has come to a very, very good agreement, and putting all the politicians together to combat this so-called rush distribution of products and food, let's say. And so the governors right now are all taking care of this issue and involving people such as myself or other to go into the street and distribute food to the vulnerable.
Thank you so much, Josephine. And before I continue with my questions, I would like Adebola to check through the chat box and also the Q&A and see if people have some questions to be answered. So you can go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. It's been interesting in the chat box. People have been commenting. First, they said thank you to all speakers. They like what you said. Somebody, Dr. Etido, mentioned something to say the sense of entitlement that Tokwe mentioned is actually pervasive all over the world. So Dr. Ackman is in the US. We know him because he was supposed to speak at the summit. He just made a comment to say that the sense of entitlement is actually everywhere. So it's not peculiar to Nigeria alone. So to our first question directed at Tokwe, he was asked that what is the app called, the app that you developed, Tokwe? They would like to know what the app is called. That's the first question.
Okay, let her answer, Tokwe.
All right.
Tokwe is...
She's been ejected.
Oh, okay. Can you go to the next question? Maybe she will try and come back. Oh, she's here. Okay.
Okay. Tokwe, can you hear me now? I think she's muted.
Yeah, I'm trying to unmute her.
Okay.
Tokwe, can you unmute yourself? I can't.
I think she's trying to do that. Tokwe?
Okay, good. Okay, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, great. Tokwe, can you hear me now?
Yes,
so the
I can hear you.
was directed at you was that what is the app called? The app that you developed, what's the name? So people can check it out.
It's Eco Food Mat. Eco Food Mat. There is an app called Eco Food Mat. There is an app called Meat Hub. So we have those two apps out there. Eco Food Mat. From there you can order your food stuff. They will deliver to your house. Okay. Then there is a Meat Hub. Okay. Meat Hub is for those that want to buy goat, cow sharing, basically, turkey, chicken, and all of those things. So you can always get from there, and they will deliver to your house. And then there's Crowdivest, there's Farm Crowdy. You can always check out any of those websites as well for more information.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tokwe. Second question also directed at you, Tokwe. So they've asked that, do you have a sense of how the food distribution system in Nigeria worked before the crisis? Who were the players and how can we coordinate efforts to minimize the current disruptions in that network?
out there.
Well, can you hear me?
Yes, clearly.
Hello. Can you
Clearly,
hear
we
me?
can hear you.
Sorry, I'm shuffling between two internet providers, but I'm still wondering what's going on. Okay, so how did the food distribution work before now? Well, we didn't really have much in the first place. Basically, what people do is you go to the farmers, you pick up what you want, and you sell to your, whoever you want to sell to. Is basic. So you have to go directly to the farmers yourself sometimes, or you are buying from someone that bought from the farmers, which has even been a major problem, because what happens is we have a lot of middlemen in that bit. So it's like I buy from you, so imagine I'm the farmer and Ebere comes to buy from me, and then Debola buys from Ebere, and then and before it eventually gets to the processor or the consumer, there are a lot of middlemen in that, and then the farmer at the end of the at the bottom of the pyramid ends up getting nothing for what they've done, really. So we don't have a proper structure in the first place. What we currently do is that each person identify their own links in the value chain and you work with it. So it's not like it's a consolidated effort where everybody knows that, okay, this is what to do. So if I want to start something now, I have to go and identify my source myself. I need to identify who the processor is. I need to identify all by myself. So it's not, there has never really been a structure. But what I'm saying is that for those that have identified their links already, so talk to those guys. For example, we at Farm Quality have identified our links. We know who our farmers are. We know that, okay, this is what the farmers have produced, and we can pick up from this farmer. We can put those farmers in clusters and say, okay, whatever it is you have produced, put it in this cluster for us, and we will send trucks to pick them up. So we are still working with our value with the value chain we have created. So every organization that is into food distribution has a value chain they've already created. So let's just talk to them, and they'll reach out to the grassroots people who are there on that value chain to get the distribution going. So that's what I think.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I have one more question for now, and it's a very interesting question to everybody. So the person has said here that in Nigeria and most African countries, we actually practice the just-in-time model when it comes to food, or farming as it were. So you produce just a little because you don't store, and then it's just, and sometimes that little that we're producing is not even enough for everybody to take out of. That's why you get to see that we import a lot of things. So the question is, what that has done is that we are not resilient enough as a continent to absorb shocks just like this. So for in Nigeria, for example, we'll be here for 2 weeks and there's food shortage. So the question is, do you think it is worth investing in storage going forward? Storage now.
Let's have someone else give an answer to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, can I take that on? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Okay.
would say that it's not every single value chain that would apply to. And even just to come back to Topwell's points, there are some value chains that are more developed and more sophisticated than others. So I'll use sorghum, for example. The sorghum value chain is quite developed, and there's quite a bit of storage because you've had large companies like Nigerian breweries, which is Heineken, a Dutch company, Guinness, and AB InBev that use sorghum as a substitute for barley. So that's a very developed value chain. And these companies buy 6 months worth in advance. They don't just buy for today. You have the same in soya value chain for the poultry industry, in the maize value chain, because poultry absorbs majority of the soy and maize now that we use in Nigeria. We have a pretty sophisticated poultry industry. Nigeria is almost becoming self-sufficient in poultry because under Obasanjo, we banned the importation of chicken, even though there's still quite a bit of smuggling. So I would say it's not across the board. You'd see that more with food crops, fruits and vegetables, yams, but even our cassava now has quite a few, maybe 9 major processors of cassava flour and high quality cassava starch, and they have stock. So I just wanted to point that out, that it's not in every single value chain. We've done quite a bit of comprehensive studies looking at 5 of these commodities across West Africa, and countries like Burkina Faso have very effective grain reserves. They can feed their people for the next 2 years if their borders are short. I don't know what the state of the grain reserves is in Nigeria, but Niger and Ghana have also quite effective grain reserves. India has grains for the next, 6 months. Some countries in Asia have grains for the next 4 years. So each country is different. We need to be more efficient and effective across the board. So I just wanted to point that out. Now, in terms of what the question specifically, I think that honestly, there's so much that needs to be done from an ecosystem strengthening perspective. And one of the key interventions is really information and data. So I changed my background, you would notice, to put up nourishingafrica.com. And it's a free hub that we've created. And we recognize that so many entrepreneurs or people who are interested in the sector don't know where to get information. There's a lot of misinformation, a lot of ignorance in the sector. So on this site, you'll have information on funders, or a lot of funders in this space. There's more money available than people who can absorb it because most of our companies are not investment ready. We have information, we have lots of podcasts and webinars. So this is an advertising plug. But guys, go up and upload your profile, utilize this information, chat with each other, meet other entrepreneurs in your value chain. Because we as Africans have to shape the future of our industries. We as Africans have to own this narrative and ensure that we create the environment. Africa is naturally endowed for agricultural excellence. There's no reason why we cannot feed ourselves and the world. Yeah. I'm working on a book on this topic because I really believe African entrepreneurs have to scale their businesses. We have too many small businesses. I mean, what Topware referred to, they have seen so many gaps. First, they started Farm Crowdy. Now they have FarmVest. Now you guys have started 2 other companies because you see opportunities that people are not filling. And we're leaving these opportunities on the table for others to come into our environment and take those opportunities. So I think even in this crisis, there are opportunities for you. If you're serious and you want to start a business, there are opportunities for you. Every day I'm looking for who can supply me fresh vegetables and fruits. Now, Topware has told us about two news websites. Topware, please DM or write them in the chat because I didn't get all of them. But I'm just giving you an example that this is it's actually a time for growth. Some people are growing rapidly while others are contracting because they haven't been leveraging technology and innovation. They don't have cost-effective models. I mean, there are so many aspects of their business that they have to transform. And we're going to be starting on Nourishing Africa, like a seminar for entrepreneurs who want to retool and want to leverage and obtain financing so that they can come out stronger in the ag and food landscape after COVID-19. I know I've spoken for a long time to address that question. Thank you.
Yes, so let me, thank you so much, Ndidi. Let me ask this question because there are some people here with us now. They are thinking about today. They don't have money to feed. In fact, I saw somebody told me yesterday that so many people have been sending him text messages of telling them that their family cannot feed. And you've also said to me that even when you go and give people food, they all rush it and take it away. So which means some people who need the food, they are not getting it. So for our viewers who are asking, how are we going to survive between now and 2 weeks? Do you know of any government intervention, anything available from your company, from the community, where people can actually go to get help and survive between now and the next 2 weeks? Please, everybody.
Can I take that? Can I take that?
Everybody will answer. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I just take that? Can I just take that on? I think on the human part of things, we all know that the COVID-19 has taken us all into surprises. We are the first thing that we human beings think, and I think also in Africa, it's really like that. Who can we go to help us, especially when we talk about government? The first thing we think about is the government. The government owns us this. Let's go on to the human part. We can help each other. There are people out there who have got huge mansions. At this point of time, do they really need those mansions? At this point of time, they can also give a lending hand to those that are really needing. We do not always have to go running to governments to help us. We can also run to each other. I think we need to open our hearts to each other first before really going into the nitty gritty of going to the government and asking and thinking that because the government are our government, they own us this and that. We should try to help each other. I think the humanitarian part of us all calls at this very moment. Okay.
Thank
And
you.
and at the end of the day, when we talk about that, we have also associations that one can go to in our own countries. Let's not try to go and pitch into associations that are outside our countries on the other side. We should not do that. Like, I'm in Nairobi. If I'm in Nairobi and I have an issue, I will not go, for example, to Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and ask them to help me. I will look for the next governor in Nairobi to help me. I will look for somebody who is just near me to help me. So let us not, Africans, we should really try to be self-sufficient. We should not always turn into outside government, because that is when the outside government think that they own us something.
Okay, thank you very much, Josephine. You know, like, I'm talking like somebody who just lost his or her job due to COVID-19, especially small business owners as well. These farmers we are talking about, the food industry, they've shut down, and maybe some of them cannot afford to pay salaries to their employees, which means that most of these employees are going to be out of jobs and they don't have money. I mean, there's somebody who spoke to me yesterday and said, I have only 3,000 Naira left in my bank account. I don't know how I'm going to survive in the next 2 weeks. And maybe my neighbor is having the same problem, because sometimes neighborhoods are the same. So the question is, which is also what I'm posing to the people watching us, are there places, are there interventions that are available anywhere that people can take as an information to share with other people back home in their villages, that please, you can go to this place or that place, at least get some food to eat. I've also heard that in Nigeria, they're distributing money, food. The government is, distributing money and food to all the places that are under lockdown. Please, where are they distributing all of these things? And also your company, is there anything, how can people come and get food to eat every day, so we can avoid starvation, we can avoid hunger, and we can avoid what Ndidi said in her article, that COVID, the hunger and starvation could kill more people in Africa than COVID-19. So I want to know, yes.
Yeah. Well, the South African government, for example, the South African government, I just have this from my vice president who wrote to me in South Africa, and she said the South African government department has a variety of funds for different sectors to help businesses and individuals. And all countries are capitalizing on their social capital. So if there's anyone who needs, some funding, they can really go into their so-called countries, government in that particular sense. As I say, one should not run directly to them, but really, if the worst case scenario really comes, they don't have anything, their government will help.
Thank you very much. And Ndidi, do you have any suggestion for that?
Okay, so there are a bunch of initiatives. Topware has put in some, I've also put in some, and there's a website that I'm looking for. It's called beatingcorona.ng. Let me just type it in. And it lists a lot of different initiatives, beatingcorona.ng, and a lot of nonprofits that are doing a lot of, in fact, I have to say that Nigerians have risen to the occasion. Church groups like God Bless Nigeria are using area boys to distribute food. ACE Food has supported about 6 nonprofits across the country, ARC Foundation, Lagos Food Bank, who are feeding. I've also gotten more companies to do it. Why I like this beatingcorona.ng is that it's putting all the information together in one place. The other one is COVID.ng, where you can put in your information and say, I need food, and they'll try to find you. So there are a couple of initiatives, and we're trying to coordinate a lot more of them. Now, the challenge, which is what I want to point out, is that we need to register our most vulnerable, because many of them are unbanked. If they were registered, as in other parts of the world, they would get conditional cash transfers. I mean, I hate seeing videos where governors are handing out 5,000 naira, or where people are getting bags of rice. If you eat rice with no protein, how is that helping you? You know, no even spices, no Ace Food spices. So the challenge for us is that we have to coordinate our efforts. But Ebere, if people call you, tell them there's so many, just give them these websites. I think I've put beatingcorona.ng, covid.ng,
Okay.
and there are even more. Topboy put a few. Topboy, maybe you can talk about the ones you're involved in. Ace Foods has been leading a drive. We donated to like 6 organizations. Then we started saying, okay, companies, donate to us. Just like Topboy was saying how companies doing, donate to us and we can get this to more organizations because we are a going concern. And you see so many companies stepping up to do that. Even neighborhoods. The whole of Lekki, people have gotten together. They're feeding thousands of people outside the gates. Banana Island, thousands of people. It's not enough, but their efforts, and whoever is telling you that they need money desperately, tell them to go on one of these sites and actually ask for support, and somebody will rise to the occasion.
Thank you very much, Ndidi. And Topbe, do you have anything to add briefly? Because we have a few more questions to answer. People have been typing.
Okay, so for where to get food, I know that we are partnering with Beyond the Classroom Foundation, and what they do is to put families together in clusters across different states. And once we raise money from the platform, we then share across this different. So they are partnering with different foundations in those different states because they can't afford to go to the market and buy the food at any time. So they had to partner with different foundations across those states to gather the people that need. And I think Indidi said something very important where she said we have to register our names for those that need, because it is that data that we can use to address what is happening. But if you are not registered under any organization whatsoever, nobody will be able to reach out to you and stuff. And more importantly is what Josie already said, where we also need to help people that we have around us. It's very, very important. You don't have to wait till they come to boggle your house. If whatever it is you have that you can share with somebody, please go ahead and do so. This is not the time to eat all you get all you get, get all you can all you get and sit on the can. No, this is not the time to do that. It's time to reach out to people. If not, those people you are keeping the things from, they will come to your house one night. And it's so painful now that beyond even collecting the food, they are raping girls, they are damaging things. It's really bad. It has gotten that bad, killing people just for nothing. People are just, so Beyond the Classroom can help, and if there are more, we can always share with you. If I have any other, maybe you can send a circle out or something.
Okay, thank you very much. And we are also going to collect all these things together and share with everyone who registered, and also make them available on social media. You know, in the Netherlands, it's not all these things you're saying, they're not only unique to the Netherlands. We are also afraid here. But the only thing is that we have a responsible government. I am not promoting the Netherlands, but I live here and they care about their citizens. So I know they are doing some things to especially small business owners who cannot provide for themselves, pay them some money. And also, personally, my company, Ataro Foods, have cooked to send to all the elderly. You know, even if I didn't do it, I'm sure other people here would have done it. Communities have come together to provide food. You know, we are 16 million. Nigeria, we are almost 200 million, which means providing food for individuals every day is not sustainable. We need to tell ourselves the truth. I read something about Ndidi's article where she said countries like the US, the UK, that they already have plans to provide intervention grants, loans, tax holdings for stakeholders in the food industry, you know, who have been affected. So what is the case in Africa? So let's get back to holding people responsible right now, because each of us giving food every day, when our money finishes, we cannot do it anymore if nothing changes in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 months. How are we holding our government responsible? What is Nigeria doing? What is Kenya doing? What is Ghana doing? What is Cote d'Ivoire or South Africa? What specifically are they doing to provide grants, remove taxes, make life easy for people? Please, I need to get this. I'm sure so many people are asking these questions, so we can take it forward. Okay, yeah, Josephine, want to start?
Yeah, just I follow quite a bit what's going on right now in Kenya, and I know that the government have also waived rent. They have waived rent. That means that you do not really have to pay your rent for X months. I don't know exactly how many because they change all the time. But this also, this was a huge topic a couple of weeks back, that people, even the tenants, were being kicked out, and the government really put their foot down and said, right, we don't have to go that far, and getting people to be kicked out on during this particular time. So right now, I know that people are not forced to pay rent in Kenya. And of course, there are talks, about, giving tax breaks, for example, and identifying quickly the vulnerable and attending to them first. And, people are being asked to be clear of the essential services that are going to be given, and empower people with clear information. And this is actually what is going on right now in Kenya. The fact that I don't live here, I try to inform myself as good as possible on a daily basis, but I know that there's really something going on in Kenya. Kenya is it's a country that really, I know that the government is taking charge. The incident that happened in one slum area that killed a couple of people a week ago really opened up the eyes of the Kenyan government, and I know that they are really doing a lot.
Thank you very much, Josephine. And Temi, you want to briefly? Yes,
I'm following our Lagos State Governor, Jide Sanwo-Olu, and I know that 3 days ago he said they want to commence a daily, I'm reading from his Instagram page, said they want to commence a daily food kitchen program expected to feed 100,000 youth daily. And by the end of the week, they will also be implementing a cash transfer to a minimum of 250,000 vulnerable residents. So I know, and he's been doing quite a lot. So I'm hopeful that they have something really good in store, and this is someone that follows through with his word. So hopefully they can. I just pray that they get the structuring right, because if they don't get it right, it can also scatter everything. So hopefully they are able to implement that successfully. But yeah.
Thank you. Ndidi, you have something to add?
I think honestly, ultimately, we have to think long term about this. Somebody said to me yesterday on a global call that this is going to be 12 to 18 months, that we should brace ourselves. Wow. And I'm just being honest, and these are the people who know. They said this is not a weekly thing. Some of these are stopgap measures. They are good, I applaud them, but they are not long-term measures.
No.
And where we're sitting, we have to think long-term.
Yeah.
So my challenge to all of us who are stakeholders is get involved in shaping policy. And I like that Ebere wants to write this up. And what you guys can also do, especially those of you who are in diaspora and are in other countries, please share widely. Maybe Ebere can collate best practice interventions, what people are doing. I've, for example, suggested that many of us, we start our home gardens. I said, I'm not planting flowers in front of my house anymore. I want to plant fruits and vegetables. I want to plant plantain, honestly, because the truth is all of us have to remember our roots and remember that we're blessed in Africa. I mean, I have pawpaw and mango growing in my compound, not because I planted it, but because a seed fell down. And this is Lekki phase 1, which is not fertile. So I think we need to challenge ourselves. There's urban farming in the Netherlands. They are doing a really phenomenal job. Why can't we replicate that in our cities?
Yeah.
I think we really need to think out of the box and empower ourselves with some very practical solutions, because this is a long-term pursuit. And if the recovery, the World Bank statistics that Barry listed, says that we're going to, I looked at the World Bank statistics, said we're going to grow by -2 to -5. So it's not a growth, it's a shrinking and a contracting, which if we don't take time, it's going to set us back 20 years as a continent. And this is what the option, and this is an option we don't want to accept. And we can pray for all the miracles we want, but God has set us on this earth to be those change agents. So I think from this talk, what I'd like to see is some very practical recommendations, some best practice examples, so that we can also say we can influence what people are doing, how they're living, and what our governments are doing. And collaboratively, we can see change happen.
Yeah. I agree with you. I really agree with you, Ndidi. I think urban farming, vertical farming is really the next step into sustainability. And I do believe that if we push our women and our youth into urban farming and really prepare, not only just because of this pandemic, but we have to prepare also for the next so-called industrial revolution.
Yeah. Thank you, Josephine, because you're already doing something on vertical farming. And you also mentioned that people can actually start planting on their balconies, their backyards, and with vertical farming, we can achieve that. So we're also going to share your details so people can contact you.
This is a very huge step forward for agriculture and human development, for sure.
Okay. Thank you very much. So let's go back to the attendees' questions. There is a lot. So if we don't answer your question, just make sure you subscribe to our newsletter, because we're going to be sharing some of the findings today. We're going to share the video. We're also going to share, provide answers to some of your questions that we are not able to answer today. So let's hand over to Adebola again. And I'll come back.
Well done, everybody. Our ears are full at the comment section. There's so much interaction. And it's interesting that a lot of things that you're saying, some of the participants have already started saying it. So going back to farming in our houses, somebody from Peter from Kenya and Kwanko from South Africa actually mentioned that one of the solutions is for us to have gardens where we're planting food and not just flowers, just like Ndidi said, but that's one of the key solutions. So there's a question here asking that if anybody on the panel is actually a policymaker, can we pass a policy to say it is mandatory for you to use your garden for food production? Is that possible to say it's mandatory and not just voluntary?
Yeah, we can write it down and push it forward. The next webinar we're going to have in 2 weeks. So we are inviting policymakers. We've already contacted them from different African countries. We're also working together with some agencies in the United Nations. So we're going to escalate this, but it's better we hear from the stakeholders first. So we're going to write down that point and make that suggestion. Thank you very much.
Great. So to the next question, this is for Tokwe. Tokwe, do you supply food to businesses? I have not been able to get frozen fish. So the person is asking about frozen fish. She has a cold room in Kwara State, that's in north central Nigeria. So she is asking, his name is Henry actually, that do you supply frozen fish from your company? If yes, I would like to contact you.
Okay. No, we don't. No, for the fresh, for the meat, what we just do now is cow sharing, goat sharing, turkey and chicken. That's all we do right now. Then maybe minced meat and stuff. That's what we are currently doing. But fish is going to be a tough one to get, because now nobody is really doing that as much, because there are nowhere to bring them from, and nobody's going to fish anymore right now. So fish will be a tough one. Maybe we'll just
eat meat. We have a lot abundance of meat, right? Yeah, let's eat. Thank you.
Okay. So the other question is on data. I remember that the panelists have mentioned that their interventions, Tokwe mentioned around the governor wanting to give money. Indeed, they mentioned around COVID.ng, where you can go apply for food. But the question is, a lot of the people that need these things don't have their data in the system. They don't even know that there is a place on Instagram they can go apply for food. What is the solution to that problem?
If I can jump in on that, what I said was the grassroots guys, they have leaders. So if you go to the bus stops and you see a tout saying, hey, yes, sir, you know, that tout has, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So that guy on the road that is doing yes, sir, or stopping the bus, stopping the vehicle from passing, has a boss, right? That they listen to. So we need to identify those guys that lead from the grassroots level. Those are the guys that we are going to use to reach the final guys. But if you are still, like the person rightly said, it's not everyone that is on social media. Someone that cannot afford to eat, will they go and buy data on their phone? Of course not. I would rather eat first before buying data. So we need to find out the leaders in those communities, go there and meet with them and see who you can channel all your resources through. Everything cannot go via social media. I agree, completely agree. So we need to still go and do the legwork. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Because we have 6 more minutes to go, and I'm calling from the Netherlands, we keep to time. But after, and Ndidi also has to go for a meeting. So my final question, I start with Ndidi, is what is the way forward? What piece of, 1, 2 pieces of advice are you going to give to people as a community, as an individual, as a policymaker? What are you telling us to do to survive COVID and post-COVID, like now and much later? So let's start with
Okay, thank you. I'll say it from an individual perspective. First, we have to use this period to actually rethink what we're doing in this sector, design our interventions and our business models to ensure that we're leveraging technology, we're resilient, we have shock resilience embedded into our DNA, because beyond COVID, we're facing climate change shocks, we're facing locust infestation shocks. All over Africa, there are shocks, droughts. So we really have to come up with resilient business models. As individuals and families, we have to save, and we have to be careful about how we spend money at this time. And then we have to share with those who we can in our communities and in our faith-based organizations and our sphere of influences. As agri-businesses, we have to take care of our staff, because this is a difficult time for them, as much as we possibly can. We have to continue to engage with our customers and our suppliers so we stay relevant, and we have to shape our ecosystem. It's really important that we inform, use data and best practices to ensure that our governments at the local, state, and national levels are making the right decisions that affect us, because food is critical. Food is part of the COVID-19 solution. It's not a health challenge alone. It's a human challenge, and food is a critical component of this intervention. So if we don't prioritize agriculture and food, we're going to lose the battle against COVID-19. And then finally, for our policymakers need to think short-term, medium-term, and long-term. I think not one size fits all. Please don't take what Netherlands is doing and apply it into the Nigerian context. First of all, we don't have the war chest that the Netherlands does. Secondly, it's a very different economic and social construct, and we really need to tailor-made solutions that fit the African realities. And that's why I'm advocating for a lot more sharing across countries of best practices and collaborating. Finally, nobody can win this alone. We need to partner across the board, join associations, amplify your voice. What Ebere and her team have created is one example, but we need so many examples so we can have a voice together, because we need to raise and amplify our voices. Please go on nourishingafrica.com and please upload your profile so we can support you, because I'm running off to talk to a funder now about this grant scheme for agripreneurs who are facing a tough time right now. So it's been a pleasure engaging. Unfortunately, I have to leave. Keep safe and healthy, and until next time, God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Ndidi. Thank you so much. You're free to leave now, but we'll stay back. Yes. So, so let's get to Josephine. What are you going to advise us to do going forward, now and beyond COVID-19?
Now and beyond, thank you so much, Ebere, for letting me speak at end of this conference, for me is making sure, first of all, we hold on to each other. That is really my first advice. We can never, ever win alone. We will win, we will overcome COVID-19 if we hold on to each other together. At the same time, we have to also involve our youth into agriculture, into the new agriculture. We have seen that food is predominant. I mean, COVID-19 has literally opened up the eyes of everybody. When it was announced, people did not go out there to look for a Mercedes. They all went out there to buy food, right? So food is really, really predominant. I just have one paragraph that I wrote about what I advise as a way forward for government and individuals. Integrating sustainable food production is a necessity, is a necessary step for modern society. Vertical farming offers all of this, while also serving as a tool for uplifting quality of life in densely populated urban area. For Africa, we cannot really enhance social distancing for even not only just Africa, but developing countries. Because developing countries, people live together. People live together in a room, 10, 15, 16, in one single room. So let us adapt what is for Africa. Let us help each other. Thank you very much, everybody, and stay safe.
Thank you so much, Josephine. And now, Tolu, what do you have to talk about? What are your parting words?
Okay, so I think Ndidi has said a lot and Josie has said a lot. So let me just try and touch on some few other things. One is right now, beware and be careful of the kind of information you pass around. Don't just pass or don't just forward a message without verifying. Because another thing that we can do to ourselves in this season is to create fear amongst people. And interestingly, we're in this part of this world where what people don't understand, they mystify. You know, when I can't even start going around the gist of 5G when it started and people just went all ballistic and all of that.
We're discussing that tomorrow during the morning section, right?
Beware, be careful of the information you pass across. It doesn't make sense. If you cannot validate or you cannot be sure and really confirm, you don't have to forward it. Just ignore and move on. You know, pass across messages that would edify, that would build up people, not the one that will pull down. The other thing I want to say is we cannot also deny the effect of mental stress that is happening to a lot of people in this season. A lot of people are not dealing with this in a very good way. So invest in your mental health in this season. Be careful what you watch. You don't have to listen to all the news. I don't listen to news. There are some things you don't have to get involved. Protect your mind at this season. It's very, very important. We are going to survive this, but it depends. Are we going to survive this better, stronger, or we are going to survive this, ruined and destroyed? So I feel a lot happens with our mind. So let's invest on our mental health, do things that would, help your mental health positively. Also reach out to people in this season. This is not the time to do me and my family and my loved ones alone. Reach out to people, business people. Even though your business cannot function at this time, this is the time to communicate more with your staff. You'll be surprised. Well, some people, you resume, you just hear that one of your staff has ported to another company. Why? Because somebody else is saying something to them. So now is not the time to, we are not doing anything right now. There are no businesses going, so let's just be quiet. No, energize your people. Keep reaching out to them. Keep calling them. This is the time to keep communicating positive vibe. And lastly, let's keep praying. There's nothing, absolutely nothing prayer cannot do. So we cannot give up. God has not given up on us. So let's keep praying and keep hope alive. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Before I conclude, is there somebody who can raise their hands to give a parting word? Somebody from among the participants? I haven't seen anyone raise their hands. Is there anyone at all?
Okay, somebody just did. Hold on.
Okay. Okay, somebody did. Okay.
Yes, 2 people actually. So hold on.
Okay, go ahead. I've allowed them.
All right.
Yeah, just be very brief, please. Go ahead.
Okay, Dennis, but he's still on mute. He's still muted. You need to unmute him. Dennis.
Oh, I didn't. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, Dennis. You can go ahead to talk now.
Okay, let me promote him. Okay, Dennis, go ahead. I don't know why we can't hear them. So I wanted to give people opportunity to say one.
There's somebody else. There's a Korede raising her hands as well. Can you see her?
No. Okay.
There's Nee.
I can't see that again. Okay, so maybe we'll do that tomorrow. So before, yeah, okay, I've seen that. Allowed to talk. So tomorrow, if you can join us, myself with my team, if you can join us tomorrow, we will appreciate it, because tomorrow we are going to be talking about information security, communication, and how to really, like somebody asked us, how do we get people in the local communities to hear about all these interventions? So we're going to be discussing that tomorrow, and we have experts in technology and also experts in how to maintain our mental health, who will be speaking to us tomorrow at 10 a.m. Nigerian time, which is 11 a.m. Netherlands time. And also later tomorrow at 4 p.m. Nigerian time, we're going to be talking more about the career, the small business owners, about business continuity, about pivoting your business. Somebody asked, you know, how can we share with small businesses the type of, maybe the type of application technology they can use right now, even like e-commerce. People can start selling, planting at their backyard and start selling it through e-commerce. My company, Ataro Marketplace, we are already working on the e-commerce platform to help people, especially our people in the diaspora, to sell their stuff. We will consider partnering with people in Nigeria to also promote it so that you can produce in your backyard and sell so people can have food to eat. So I want to say thank you for coming, and Adebola wants to say something as well. Adebola, you have something?
I just want to say thank you everybody for coming. I love the participation in the group. It's encouraging. I look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow. We're going to be learning so much tomorrow. Please come with your thinking hats and with your questions. Thank you so much and have a wonderful evening. Please stay safe. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Josie. And for Debbie who wanted to speak, maybe we didn't hear you. Tomorrow, feel free to join us, and then prepare your questions. Get ready tomorrow, and you're going to come on the screen to just share your opinion. Your voice matters. We don't have the answers. Nobody, no one person. If there's any time to be kind to your leaders, it is now, because they don't have the answers either. So some of them are here today listening to see what we are saying. There is, nobody has the answer, but one thing I know is that collectively, if we decide as as a community to come together, we will overcome. We are going to beat this crisis, and we're going to come out stronger. We're going to come out more innovative. We're going to come out, being different people, helping our neighbors, feed people, like all the panelists have said. I would encourage you, even from me, not because I don't have enough, but I make sure that every week I want to feed the elderly in the Netherlands, and they really appreciated it. Whatever you have, please share with your neighbors. And don't forget that some people have this ego that prevents them from asking for help. Please ask for help and don't wait. Ask your neighbors, how are you? Are you okay today? Do you have food to eat? I have enough things I can share with you. Trust me. God will replenish anything you share. We all love God in Nigeria. This is the time to show that we love God. And this is the time to show that we love our neighbors. Be your brother's keeper. Be the change you want to see. Keep speaking up. Keep sharing information. all the things we have discussed today, all the links they have shared, please share it with your community leaders. Tell them to tell people in the villages, this is how information cascades. You are the information bearer, and I believe in you, and I know that for you to have joined us, you have the heart to solve the problems happening in our nation, Africa. You love Africa. I love Africa. And I know together we can all make a difference. Thank you so much, and bye. See you tomorrow. Ebere here. Bye-bye.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Very nice.
Thank you, my speakers. Thank you, our panelists. We really appreciate you so much, Tokwe and Josephine. And Ndidi has left. You know, I really appreciate you people. We've got to, I mean, this is one of those webinars that like 80% and 90% stayed until the end. Some people are still here with us, you know, which means they enjoyed your talk.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you. Thank you really for bringing this energy, your wisdom, and sharing with us. We are going to ensure that each person gets your contact. We are going to ensure that your website will list it. We have to work together. We need to create a stronger platform to help our people, you know, so that we are no longer the Africans that are seeking aid every day. We are the Africans that are providing for ourselves. And we can connect people in the diaspora like me, like so many other people here who still love our country. Yes, we love where we live. I love the Netherlands, but I also love my country, Nigeria. And I'm so proud of Nigeria that I cook jollof rice, plantain, suya, and I gave to these elderly people. They so much appreciated it. So I'm still representing that Nigeria in the Netherlands. And I want all of you to do the same. Wherever you are calling in from, Canada, the US, please always represent your country. It doesn't, whether it's Nigeria, South Africa, Ghana, we are one. We need to start coming together to really support ourselves, our families, and our communities. This way, the government will see that we are able to also support our governments to do what they are supposed to do. So thank you so much. I love you all, and it's been a nice time.
Ladies, it was a pleasure really to be with you as part of the panelists. I really appreciate all of you, all five, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, including myself. Huh?
Somebody is here now. You can say something. I don't know who you are.
Dennis is trying to talk earlier.
Yes. So much noise.
There's a lot of noise.
Yes. I want to greet all of you, most especially Josephine.
Oh, hi.
Yes, Josephine.
Hello.
I think I'm having a network. Yes, good evening, Josephine.
Okay.
I think I'm having a network problem here. Yes. Yes, thank you very much.
Hi.
Wow, it happens. This happens.
Oh my God, Debbie.
This happened.
Thank you so much. You've been such.
Okay,
it was
Debbie.
such a rich time. It was such a rich time. I learned a whole lot. Thank you so much for the wisdom you all brought. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I cannot thank you enough. Thank you. Adebola, thank you. Ebere, thank you so much.
Debbie, for joining. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow as well. Thank
you. And thank you so much, Dr. Upman. Thank you so much. No place as home. We believe that. There's no place like home. I believe in, charity begins at home. So I do quite a lot in the Netherlands because this is where I live. But I also believe I have to do for my country, for my continent, Africa. So you're going to be seeing more of me because we are having this event like every 2 weeks with different stakeholders. So this one, professionals, people in food, we are moving to the government, we are moving to the pastors because really they have influence in our nations and we need to get them involved to tell them, to find out their roles in nation building. So we are going to keep talking until this lockdown is over. I hope to be seeing you as part of our community. And when I come to Lagos, I want to come and eat pounded yam, edikaiko, and everything that Africa has to offer in terms of food. I hope to really see all of you soon. God bless you, and bye-bye.